Hello, it's Mara from Houseplants, New Jersey. Today we're going to be talking about my green dragon philodendron. And I have it on a moss bowl that I made myself, but I have a bunch of stakes in here. I actually don't know how many stakes I have in here to hold it up, but I do know that it rooted into the moss bowl a lot. So I'm gonna cut this moss pole because I started using these plastic back ones to hold in the moisture a lot better. Um, I did cut up to where it is rooted into. So let me just show you that. I cut up to where it's rooted into. So I figure let me cut this moss pole, attach it like to this area here. I'm gonna try it. I don't know, but I've never done this before, so I'm gonna do it with you guys. Why not? And then if we need to upsize the pot, I don't know, but we'll see. I have it in orchid pot right now. It was in a metal pot under the orchid pot, so it got a little bit of rust damage on it, and then we're going to be putting it into but it did really well. I mean, like, you could see these leaves, like, they're gorgeous. There's like not a blemish on them. I got a cutting from my friend. She gave me this leaf with a petiole, with a petiole coming in, and then this took forever because it was growing roots, but this took forever to come out, and then finally it rooted onto the moss pole, and now it just won't stop. So I wanted to go up a little further, and then when it does, I'm going to air layer it, and then I'm going to plant it back into like a little bit of a bigger pot just to fill in all the gaps. All right, so let's get this party started. I'm a little bit nervous about this. So let me angle you down. All right. So we're going to angle you down to the tray. I just took the cup off of the area here. And I'm going to, I don't know if I should. I'm gonna take it out of the pot first. All right. And we'll see. Now I got this summer. So let me take this moss ball and move it onto the couch. Let me try to get it out of this pot. Oh yeah, the roots are pretty good. All right, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut along where I zip tied it. And then let me take out that stake that holds it up. I'm gonna cut along where I zip tied it. I hope I'm not cutting any of the roots. But hey, it's lasted this long. All right, so we're going right down. We got soil in there. And one more cut, and we got it open. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I kind of want to just move it into this moss pole. That's it. I want to move it into this moss pole, and then I'm going to zip tie the old mesh onto this neater moss pole, and the dirt too. We're going to keep in there too. Let me just make sure it's like the right height. Now we got to go up a little bit further. Up a little further. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, there's a lot of roots in there. So I have some moss here. I'm gonna like take some moss and like shove it into the moss pole here where the roots are, just to fill that area up. And then I'm just gonna cut down. All right. Then I'm just gonna cut. Oh my God. We got, oh, all right. Then I'm going to cut down where the other pole doesn't need to be. So we're just going to go in a straight line down. And then we're going to wind up zip tying this old moss pole onto the new one. Ooh, I cut a root. Okay. That's on one side. So I'm going to start zip tying this moss pole onto this mesh here, this wire mesh. If I can, I don't even know what I'm doing. No, I'll figure it out. I just have to get a rhythm. There we go. Unzip tie in. Yay, finally. All right, now we go to this side. We zip tied it, but I have to cut the zip ties. So let me cut the zip ties. I cut that old wire mesh, that floral mesh, and now I just have to cut the zip ties. And then we're going to fill this up with the soil again, because a lot of it fell out. And then we're going to put it back in this pot. Oh, another zip tie, another zip tie. These things are like never ending, huh? All right, here we go. Let me get them off. Watch you don't cut the roots. All right, pack it in there. Now we're going to turn this pot on its side, push this in. Make sure all the roots are down there, down in there. It's a little tricky because there's still a little bit of wire on there. So we're going to have to poke it through. This is not the easiest thing. I don't recommend starting off on one moss pole and putting it on another, but I mean, I kind of want it all to be cohesive in my house. And this is one of my favorite plants. So now I'm just going to pack the soil that was in here in there. It's a chunky aerated mix, so it has like horticultural charcoal, it has perlite, it has orchid bark, and that's what we want to use. So we got it in here. I mean, this isn't, honestly, this was not that fun of a project. I would not ever recommend this. But hey, it works. And hopefully it'll grow up a lot further into this moss pole. All right. Here we go. Now let me get some plant Velcro. All right. So I got some plant Velcro. I'm going to put these roots that are newer. I'm going to that did come out, but they're not like fully rooted in there anyway. So I'm going to put that right around this area right here, this section. And tie it on nice and tight. Love this plant Velcro. Okay. So this is the new leaf coming out. And then there's actually a new leaf coming out too. So it's almost like this plant throws off like 2 new leaves at one time. I don't know how, but it just does it. And my Florida Beauty does the same. So we got that in there. Okay, so we got that in there. Look at that. It looks so good. I'm so happy about that. Now I'm just going to fill up the moss pole a little bit. Well, actually to the top. I like them full to the top. These plants grow pretty fast. I'm going to just use a stick just to pop this moss down. I know a lot of people are getting off of moss poles now, and I was going to. And now all of a sudden I'm like on this moss pole kick, and I really want my plants to grow up them. I think it'll look great. And it'll be more uniform, condensed, and organized for my plants. I have a lot of climbers. And I love, love, love these plastic back moss poles. I've seen them for a very long time, and I'm like, oh, I can make my own. But honestly, this is the way to go. Just order them on Amazon or figure out a way to make the plastic back ones yourself. They're the way to go 150%. They don't dry out as fast. You could just leave a cup on there, or you could put the water bottle on top with a few I burn holes in them. You could probably use a nail and just make holes with a nail. They're amazing. I highly recommend them. I know that City Plant Guy's been using them for years, but you know, he is in Australia, so you expect his plants to be way bigger because of the moss, because of where he is. But honestly, I think it's the way that he grows them. I think it's the moss pool and everything, along with his conditions. But at the same time, it's like definitely a moss pool thing too. All right, so let me get my catch pot here. I'll show you the whole visual. So this is now my Philodendron golden dragon. It's not variegated, but it is a golden dragon. And it has, you know, like look at the leaves. So they look like a dragon's head. They look like a dragon's head. So, and hopefully this thing sizes up for me and it will be absolutely beautiful in no time. I mean, look, it's almost done with the moss pole, and then eventually I'm going to propagate when it gets to the top of the moss pole, which is, it's about halfway up right now. When it gets to the top of the moss pole, I'm going to air layer it, and then I'm going to propagate it and put it right back into, whether it's this pot or another pot. We're going to get like double the leaves on here. Okay. So it'll fill in. All right. Thank you for joining me. Like, subscribe, comment. I have 37 subscribers now. So I got a new subscriber yesterday. I'm really excited about that. And I appreciate it so much. All right. So like, subscribe, and comment. Have a great day.